Okay, we are on page 74, although you guys can probably skip to page 76 because that's where the real stuff starts. 2.2, subtracting. Integers. So it says on the top there, subtract integers by adding their opposites. You guys kind of already know how to do that. Find the distance between two integers on a number line. So your favorite boy, the number line. Page 76, subtract integers by adding their opposites. So if you have 3 minus 5, one of the things that we want to learn how to do is anytime you see subtraction, you make it into addition of the opposite. So think of it in terms of a number line. If this is 0, 1, 2, 3, if you have 3 minus 5, yes, you can go back 5 and you end up at negative 2. But you can also say 3 plus a negative 5, and you have addition subtraction right next to each other, which means you are going to go 3 and you're going to go back or forward? Backwards 5. Hey, Mr. Brunel, why are we doing that? That looks like a lot of work for doing the exact same thing as we were doing before. You're right. It is a lot of work for doing the exact same thing as we were doing before. Why do you think I'm going to do? Why do you think that I'm asking you to do it then?
Because the book says so.
Not because the book says so. Why would it introduce something that appears like it's just adding more work to start with?
Because once you get harder, it's going to be easy.
Because when it gets to something else that's going to build off of this that it hasn't told you yet, then you're going to be able to use that to do the math problem, and it's going to make it easier in the long term. But making everything addition, I guess you guys want the cheat sheet right now. I'll tell you why if you want to know.
Sure. I do.
So the big thing is that you're going to be doing expressions, like big long expressions that have variables and have just numbers in it. And when you have everything addition, then you can move things around. Remember, addition, the fact that you can move anything that's addition or multiplied around, that is the, remember the name of the property? Starts with a C. It's the commutative property. So if you have everything addition, then you can move everything around. So for right now, yes, it's painful, but long term, if you remember, hey, everything I see is subtraction, when you have these big long expressions or you have these big long equations, then you can rearrange things and combine them together to simplify them, and it's going to make it a lot easier long term. But for right now, yeah, it's kind of a pain in the butt. If you look on the bottom of page 77, I'm going to confuse you. So it says subtract positive integer b is the same as adding as its opposite. So net is that opposite negative b. So if you have a minus b is the same as a plus a negative b. That's what we just went over. But the other thing, subtracting a negative integer negative b is the same as adding its opposite. So if you have a minus a negative b, you guys remember before when I had the little cheat sheet chart, if you see two negatives right next to each other, that means what? Yeah?
Plus.
That means plus, add addition. Instead of going, you're undoing the going backwards, because anytime you see two subtraction symbols right next to each other, they undo each other, which just means a plus b. So instead of saying 3 minus a negative 5, that would be, whoops. That would be 3 plus 5. Flip over to page 78. It has evaluate the expression 10 minus 25. Let's do it. Let's take that extra step with it. What would be the extra step that we would do with it? If we're trying, yep.
10 minus 1, or 10 plus minus 1.
Yep, and the negative 25 is in parentheses. Why?
Because you can't put a positive and a negative right by.
Yeah, it's considered what if you have to write them, two of them right next to each other? Did you say math? No. It's considered inappropriate. It would be like if you put two periods at the end of a sentence, or if you capitalize the first letter and the last letter of a sentence, like you're only supposed to do it the one way. You don't. If you have two of them, then that's not what you're supposed to. That's considered inappropriate. B. A diver went went 24 feet below the surface of the ocean and then 47 feet further down, what's a diver's new position relative to the surface? So a diver went down 24 feet and then he went down, let me say 47 more feet. So if we're gonna change this into the way that we're doing it for this section, we would do what?
Your foot 24 flat 47 or 24 and the thing and the minus 47 or everything.
No, you're not doing that.
Good.
You just said 24.
Okay.
Yeah?
It'd be negative 24 plus negative 47.
Oh, I was put 17 there. Negative 47. Yes. So again, you think about it in terms of a number line. You're at 0. Go back to negative 24, and you're going plus a negative. That means you're going backwards
71.
another 47, and at the end you're going to be at what?
Negative
Negative what?
71.
71. Think 2 plus 4 is 6. 7 plus 4 is 11, so that's got to carry another one over. So it's 71, and you're going to put feet, or you could just say 71 feet below sea level, either one. Got to practice 1, 2, and 3. I don't think are that necessary. I guess I'll do.
Three.
You want me to do 2 or 3?
Three.
Three? Question?
Do we have to use the number lines?
That's a good one.
Start off with using the number lines with the first few of them at least. Because remember, the big thing, the reason I wanted you to do it is I don't want to have to. I don't want to in another chapter have to say, hey, here's a number line, and then have you guys do it. Have you guys like be confused on what it's looking like. So number 3, a submarine was at 1,200 feet below sea level, then moved to 1,683 feet below sea level. How many feet did the submarine descend? So it's at negative 1,200 feet, or 1,200 feet below sea level, and then it descended to 1,683.
You never say you can do negative.
So what do you do with that? Are you subtracting 1,683?
No,
What are you doing?
you're adding.
You're adding 1,683?
No.
Yeah?
The answer is 483.
How do we figure out the answer though?
Oh.
I don't want just the answer, I want to know how do I do the answer. You don't have your book?
No.
Oh,
Guys, please share over here. You can look at my book.
Okay, thank you, Bobby.
okay. What do we do here? If you're at negative 1,200 and you know you're getting to negative 1,683, how do you find the answer?
Make a number line.
Okay?
Put 0. And then you put 1. 1 something 1. Up to 100. And you wanna do it backwards and go to 1,683.
Well, it's negative 1,683. And basically you need to say, hey, with this number line, what is this distance right here? How much further below sea level are we going? If you start out at negative 1,200 and you're going down to negative 1,683, what's that distance? Because the question in the book was, oops, wrong page.
483.
How many feet did the submarine descend? What?
483, remember.
483 or negative 483. So it depends. You have to phrase this one of two ways. You can say A. You can say A or B. Either answer works, but you can't do a combination. It descended 483 feet, or you can say it, not say descended, but just say negative 483 feet. If you said it descended negative 483 feet, why does that not make any sense? Yeah?
Because, like, there is no negatives when you're with sea level.
Kind of. What?
You're putting like 2 negative numbers.
Yeah, you're putting 2 negatives there then. Because descended means you're going down, and negative means you're going down. So if you descend a negative, you're really doing what?
You're adding, like, you're just making 87, not negative 87.
Yeah, you're just making it positive. Because it would be like saying negative,
I'm good at math.
you're subtracting negative 483 at that point. You don't want to just subtract negative 483. So you either have to say descended 483 feet. No. Descended 483 feet, or just subtract 483 feet. Either one works, but you gotta do one of them, you can't do both of them combined. Alright, a couple more left, page 80 here. Evaluate the expression 32 minus a negative 8. We see two negatives, it becomes a
Positive.
positive.
So you put 30,
32 plus 8 is,
40.
yeah, 40. B, negative 15 minus negative 21.
Oh,
Yeah.
positive 36.
What do I do first? Don't tell me the answer. Tell me what I need to do first.
You make everything positive and then.
Everything positive, huh?
Yes.
No.
What is a 15 on?
Let's start with the number line. This is why I tell you to start with number lines. I changed my opinion. I want number lines for the whole assignment now.
Oh.
So I start off at what?
Negative 15.
Yeah, I start off at negative 15, and I'm subtracting a negative 21, which means I need to,
Go backward.
no,
You have to add it.
subtract the negative means you're adding, so you need to add 21, which means you're ending up at, think, this distance is 5, or this distance is 15, how much do you have left? 6. Because you need this distance to be 21 total, so you end up at 6. This is a very, very common mistake with the one that you just made, and that's why I'm going to make you do, that's why I'm going to be the caring, loving teacher that I am, and make you do the number lines, because I don't want you to make that mistake. You're welcome, thank you for helping me with that. But a lot of times people will say like, oh, look at all the negatives. Well, when you're adding and subtracting, the negatives have to be right next to each other, because you're subtracting a negative. You're not touching the number, because remember, you think about it from the number line. You start off at negative 15. No matter what you add or subtract, that can't change that you're on the negative side of the number line to start with. That first number is not going to change. That was a good one. Ooh, this next one is my favorite. Negative 11 minus a negative 5 minus a negative 20. Yeah?
You start with the number line.
Yeah?
You go negative 11, and then you go positive 5. And then you
Yep,
go,
because these turn into addition.
and then you go positive 20.
Okay, so think, I have to go, so over the whole thing, I'm gonna go positive what? This is positive,
25.
what, 25 total?
Mhm.
So think, this part right here is gonna be 11, and I have how much left to go forward?
14.
14. So I'm gonna end up at,
14.
yep, I'm gonna end up at 14 at the end. That's my answer, 14. This is one in particular, it's really helpful to have the number line for. Because that first one, you're like, hey, negative 11, and I turn it into the number line, I say, hey, I'm jumping 5, I'm jumping 20. So I break that up and say, hey, I'm jumping 25, and then I break that up and say, well, I gotta go 11 to go to 0, so 25 minus 11. I've got 14 left to go forward, I end at 5 plus 14. This one in particular is, like, this one right here is a huge reason why we draw the number line, because this one, universally, every 7th grade class I've taught has been confused by this, unless they got this. And most people get it wrong the first time. Maybe some of you are like, okay, I totally get it now. Well, that's great. You can prove it to me during this assignment, and then maybe the next assignment I'll say you don't need to draw the number line. You're welcome.
Nobody in
All right, 2 more of them. We're gonna do 5 and 6. If you guys can tell me how to do them, you can start the assignment. Negative 25 minus negative 9. And negative 19 minus a negative 7. Minus 6. Wait, no, minus, oh yeah, it is 6. Oh, minus negative 6, sorry. Yeah?
So the 25 minus negative 9, when you want to draw a number line, you want to make a 0, and you want to put 25 at the end. No.
And over
Which,
here.
which way? The left side.
Okay.
The
you
left
go to
side,
the
so I put
negative.
25 here.
Negative 25.
Negative 25, because that's where I'm starting with. Yeah, go
And
ahead.
then you draw and then you subtract,
No, yes,
Let him go, let him try.
you added 9 to negative 25,
Yeah,
and that makes it,
Negative 13.
yes,
what?
negative 14.
No.
What?
Think about it this way. If it were 25, if it were 25 over here and you were subtracting 9, because that's essentially the same thing, only the answer would be positive. If you're 25 and you subtract 9, then you would get what?
Oh, okay, so then it would be, okay, so the answer is negative 34.
No, because you're going forward 9, remember?
What? That makes
So
no
if-
sense.
No, so.
Okay,
you
think about it this way.
subtract-
If it was 25,
subtract
both these times you're going closer to 0, right?
Yeah,
So if you're at 25 and you were going back 9,
yeah,
you would end up at what?
14.
No, you would not. Think 25 minus 9, 5 minus 9, you can't do 15 minus 9 is,
Something, a number,
think 5 to 10 is 5, an extra 1 is
6.
6. And 1 minus 0 is, so you end up at 16. Here, 25, only it's negative 25, you're going forward. Instead of, here it's a positive, you're going backwards, but it's towards 0. Here it's a negative, going forwards towards 0.
So it's negative 60.
Yes, negative 16. That is a really, really common mistake, so I'm glad you made it now so you don't have to make it on the assignment. The one thing I will say, if you're saying, hey, I'm struggling with it now, write it down somewhere. Make sure you're taking a special note of it, because this is why we go over ones like this, because these trip people up every single year. You should not feel bad for messing up on this here. If you don't learn from it on the tests, well, maybe don't feel bad for it, but you're gonna need to make sure that you're working on it more. Yes?
can I do the other one?
Go for it.
So you make a number line, you can see one, and you can do it 19, and then you add 7, and then you add 6, that equals 13, and then the answer will be negative this.
Okay, so you're at how much total?
13.
Okay, so negative 9 plus 13 means you're gonna end up at
Negative 6.
negative 6. So think negative 19 forward 13, same thing here. Negative 25 adding 9 is the same thing as 25 minus 9. So think 19 minus 13 is 6. So negative 19 plus 13, I drew this way too big. That arrow should have gone like right here, which I guess should have made sense, because if I know I'm going forward 13, I can't end up by the other side of the 0. So just ignore that part of the number line, I guess. But then I'm going to end up at negative 6. Yes, that's my answer. And you guys should be good to go on your assignment.
It's